So there are two things I want to say on the data side. The first one is that there's the data side in terms of knowing how your audience is reacting to things and understanding how they behave. That's the framing trigger side of the equation. That's knowing whether or not they're going to be more receptive to a certain symbol, sound, color, that sort of thing. And the very basic example is the difference between when you say climate change versus global warming. And I was having this conversation with somebody today. Had we started off with saying it climate change rather than global warming in the beginning, we might have a different debate on the subject. Because when you say global warming, it doesn't resonate for a lot of people because they don't feel that day to day. They say, oh, it was colder this winter, so that's not happening. Because we're very personal in terms of our assessment of the world. But climate change, people say, oh, there's been extremes. I've felt that, I've seen that. That's a framing thing. And had we thought about that more, we could have had a whole different discussion. But the framing of, the data helps us figure out what frame of reference our audience has so we can better target them. Now, we'll talk about the other side, how you use data in your arguments and in infographics or whatever it might be. I think actually data works, but only in a story format. And what I mean by that is the Rokia effect. So I write about this. And so there was this study, and it's a famous study. They had subjects do this a task. It doesn't matter what the task was. But after the end of the task, they'd be given an envelope with a chance to donate up to $5 to a Save the Children type charity. And what they'd be given a story, and one of two things would come up. In one, it would be the statistics about Zambia, and like 8 million people are going to starve this year in Zambia, and this kind of issue, and your money will go towards, the relief efforts. And the other was the story of a girl named Rokia, and it was just about this one little girl who is in this one little town in Zambia and how she's starving and she can't get an education, and your money will go to directly help her. The donations for the Rokia story were far outweighed the donations for the stats story. And even when they combined the statistics with the Rokia story, people donated more to the Rokia story. You can call it the Rokia effect, you can call it the Bat Kid effect. We can relate to one person much more than statistics. And we feel overwhelmed when we feel like we can't help out 8 million people. We can help out one person. And so when you're going to use that data, it's easy to make it impersonal. You got to show that personal side of the data and what it actually means. If you're going to say like 30 million people are going to be helped by this, you need to show a story of how that one of those people is directly being helped. We can relate to that better. And so that's the big thing I want to caution people when utilizing data. You can tell beautiful story. You can do something beautiful with it, but it's got to be stories, and you've got to have individual stories you can relate to in addition or in relation to that data.